Hello and welcome to the Premier View podcast, episode number 109. Today, we're in the middle of the split season. We have both county action and a lot of club action to get through. We've a new panel now for the club campaign, so welcome on board Gar Toohey from Silver Mines, Gar, isn't it? Sean Smith is back from Sarsfields and Stephen Cronin and myself from down south. So we'll start with the club action, lads. There was games on all over the county. Gar, you're the first man in. New man, we'll go to you first. A lot of action up north there. Starting off, Temple Derry maybe found it a bit hard up a grade this weekend against Kildangan. Got a bit of a beat, or not, or Roscrea, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, look, I suppose before we go any further and talk about hurling, obviously there's big, life is bigger than hurling. Obviously Roscrea had the sad passing of Fiona Phelan during the week. So look, obviously, as we said in Clubber all weekend, the minute silence was held before every game. So I'd say, look, we'd all pass our condolences on to the Phelan family, and Fiona was buried there today. So look, may she rest in peace. But look, I suppose Roscrea, after coming up from last year, big cauldron to come into, arguably the favourites for the county. Killangan won 219 to 10 points. And look, we all know what Killangan are, what they're like. They're hurling, they like play through the lines, they're nice, tippy-tappy boys, and they pick off lovely scores. But I tell you one thing I noticed about Killangan this weekend, and there was a real urgency in them. I said to Billy there after the game, Billy Seymour got man of the match. It was like they were down 10 points the whole game, lads. They were chasing and hassling every single ball. I noticed there in the 64th minute, I think the Roscrea fullback was coming up the line, Paul Flynn, Billy Seymour, and I think it was Alan as well, chasing him all the way back to the Killangan 21. They overturned it and got a point from it. Like, they were 15, 16 points up at this stage. So there was a real difference in Killangan this year from what I saw last year, the last couple of years, that urgency. But no, look, the usual lads stood out. Billy Seymour obviously got man of the match. He got 11 points, 3 or 4 from play. Alan Flynn was unbelievable as well. Johnny Horn had a right game, left wing back. Johnny's probably been playing his trader with the kind of the second team the last couple of seasons, but Johnny had a right game, left wing back. Barry Hogan's puck outs. I know Barry's he got kicked to the sideline this year with the tip seniors, but lads, his puck outs were unbelievable on Saturday, absolutely unbelievable. And I would say Killangan were probably in second or third gear all day. So they would be so far. They were definitely the most impressive team of the weekend. It wasn't the best game of the weekend, but definitely the most impressive game of the weekend.
Well, like their team, probably we were waiting on them all year to catch fire last year, and they never quite did. And I suppose they came up short in the end. But you often see that with a team, after winning their first county or that, the celebrations and all that get the band up, and they're not quite at full throttle the next year. So they, as you say, they really look to be on a mission this year, from the early stages, and they'll take a bit of beating. Nina as well then up north, showing a bit of early season form.
Yeah, lads, come here, listen, I suppose we had a double header in Dolly yesterday, and I had Two Nina down as the game of the weekend. I suppose it's probably most everyone else did in the county, maybe apart from obviously Drummond Lockmore, but obviously Bertlee Killer one, we'll get to that afterwards. That was the game of the weekend. That was unbelievable, but this served up a cracker as well. At half time, Nina only had 2 wides, Two only had 4. The efficiency by both teams was unbelievable. Now, what I will say is, obviously, Tommy Heffron has been Nina's one of their star men for the last couple of years. Tommy had 1 shot at goal yesterday and 1 wide, and he was taken off. Like, it's very rare that Nina, I suppose, they're able to carry 1 or 2 lads. Ben West had a quiet day as well yesterday, after scoring 10 points, I think, the week before in the league final. So not all of Nina's, I suppose, main men turned up. Sam O'Farrell, obviously, we all know Sam, captain tip to the minors. He made a championship debut. Himself and Darren McCarthy had an absolute classic battle yesterday. I would say Darren came out with in the end. But I suppose, look, for Nina, Mike Heffron got 10 points, 9 frees, 1 from play. Sean Phelan was very good as well. Josh Keller, another young fella, 2 points to play. Conor Hennessy, he gave me a run for money for the man of the match, himself and Mikey Heffernan. He was very good wing forward, Conor Hennessy, a big, strong young fella, up and down the lines all day. But obviously, look, that man, Jake Morris, 7 points in play. I think he touched the ball 10 or 11 times, and he got 7 points in play.
And you're looking for your county players to stand out in these games, really, aren't you?
And what I will say is, and it's very rare, Liam Ryan, I suppose Liam was probably told during the week, listen, you're Mark and Jake, and that's it. Jake had 4 points at half time, but I would say Liam actually had a really good first half. I know that's strange to say, but you probably have to give, I suppose, a bit of leniency to Jake. You're probably going to pick off 4 or 5 points every club game, so you give him that. Liam Ryan was very good yesterday. the legs probably went from him in the second half with Jake. Just his movement, lads, it's just unbelievable to watch. It is. Philip Hickey again was very good for Nina. Mark Carey full back as well, and Dermot McTiernan as well. Give him a shout in goals. He was very good. Another young fella coming through for Nina. And look, I suppose on the Toom side, they had 8 wides in total. Conor Grace was a late replacement for Rory Butlan. He made a few errors in the goals. 3 or 4 puck-outs went straight to Conor Hennessy, Philip Hickey, and Mikey Heffron. They got resultant points from it. But no, Nina won 23 points to 20 in the end. Deserving winners. Shane Nolan, shout out to Shane Nolan, got 4 points in play. He was very good. Jack Delaney got 3 points in play. And yeah, look, the Lock and Josh McCarthy were very solid as well. So look, it won't be last year. This team, very young team as well. Ken Dunn obviously over him this year, but Nina, they just had a little more in the tank, and they were probably in second or third gear as well, probably in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, we see the North, like it's a fairly attritional championship there now with 3 rounds for most of the teams there. But now we have Templederry versus Nina in a semi-final and Boris versus Kildangan. So that'll be a cracker, the latter game.
It will, and look, as I said, we'll get on to Bertie game in a second, but that's already probably building up to be probably one of the games of the year, because look, speaking to everyone in Dáil and Nina over the weekend, teams are really going for their divisional championships this year. It's great, obviously you have the insurance, because look, you don't know what's going to happen in the county. You could have lads picking up injuries, lads might go away at the last second or whatever, and you mightn't get through your county stage. You win your division, there's your county quarter-final spot. So, and look, obviously everyone knows the North is special. There's something special about North hurling, and teams really take the division championships really, really seriously up here. But Jesus, yeah, that semi-final pairing of Varsity.
And just to close it off, then Varsity, obviously that they're one of the first teams out of the county championship last year, so they'll definitely, every game's a must win for them. I suppose they will have learned the competitiveness of the county championship. It's having that divisional title in your back pocket is invaluable.
That's it. And look at Nina last year. Nina really put a real drive on for Frank McGrath last year, and they gave, I suppose, Kildangan a bit of a schooling in the last 10-15 minutes of Jordan last year. But I suppose going on to Bursley there now, obviously after winning the county there a couple of years ago, poor year last year by their own standards. They really put it up to Kilruane yesterday. Now going into it, there was rumours going around Kilruane are missing 4 or 5 players, which they were. And I was expecting Bertie probably to win more comfortably, if I'm being perfectly honest. But Kilruane being Kilruane, and I made a point during commentary yesterday. In every county game last year, in the knockout stages, Kilruane went into this game the second favourites. They didn't go into any county game last year as favourites. There's something in that Kilruane team, in that panel, that they have this extra bite that a lot of other clubs don't have, and they were down a lot of bodies yesterday. But look, it was the Eddie Ryan show yesterday, lads. 15 points, 10 frees, 5 in play. And his general work and play, he worked like a dog all day. Unbelievable. Jerry Kelly as well on one wing, JD Devaney in the other wing. Like, I go through the whole team here. All 6 forwards scored for Bursley. They were just very impressive. And again, it looked like they probably had another gear in them as well. Kilruane were probably flat out, and obviously, look, listen, down a few bodies, but they were very impressive as well yesterday. Look, the usual suspects, Bill O'Mara was very good. In middle of the park, then kind of Craig Morgan was wearing 11, but he's kind of playing midfield. He got 3 or 4 points in play. I have to give a shout out to Owen Hogan as well. The old dog, like, he's a 16 to 17 year senior hurling now with Kilruane. He was very good wing back. But no, listen, I suppose Kilruane won't be too deflated with it. It was there for taking, but considering all the bodies they were missing, I'd say, look, they'll definitely kick on from it, they will.
Yeah, and that's as I said, like, a team like Kilruane who've been on the road a long time last year, maybe the extra couple of weeks now to knuckle down for the county championships might suit them as well. I suppose, Stephen, we'll go to the main event now down south. I suppose the South were quick out of the blocks there last week with Mullinahone and Killinall waiting in the South final now. Carrick Swan beat St Mary's 116 to 15 points. I suppose what's great about this game is the 2 biggest, most important players of this game are both up on clubber, like, so people will be able to see them. But I suppose one was a disallowed goal by Mary's kind of midway through the second half, and the other then was the goal from a puck out or whatnot, whether it was touched or whatnot the whole way through. But you were at this one as well. What do you reckon?
Yeah, the 2 clips you mentioned gone viral. Exciting game, but probably a poor enough game. Like, compared to the other semi final. It is a horrible place to play a match up in Monroe when the wind is that. And Kieran Lonergan has a savage puck out on a normal day, and he was putting the ball up into the 6-yard box with the wind, and it was just it really put St. Mary's under wicked pressure and gradually got the Swan a foothold into the game, which we seen at the end that winner is it's a typical Swan thing, give them a sniff going into the final stage and they get that winner. But I suppose the other controversy, the controversy in the game was the St. Mary's goal that was disallowed was so at such a vital stage in the game. I think if that goal was allowed, I think St. Mary's would have went down and won the game because
the momentum shift, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a huge momentum shift, but they were on top. They were the better team throughout the game. I think take the win factor out of the second half and St. Mary's would have finished out the game. That's my thinking of it. But look, you don't want to be too hard on officials either. We're trying our best not to be, but that was a very, very poor call. It was. I thought it was a common thing, although rarely used. I thought everyone knew that you could actually swat a ball into the goal with your hand, and the referee got it wrong. Like if he signaled that it was a square ball to kind of like cover his own arse, let's say, then fellas would just say, no, he wasn't in the square, and that'd be it. But he signaled it was a handed ball into the goal and disallowed the goal, which was wrong.
The keeper took the free from them, but suggested it was that, and he gave the action.
But in saying that, like I said elsewhere, that didn't cost St. Mary's the game. I think St. Mary's put himself under their own pressure with their own pockets in the second half. In the first half, their movement was excellent and they delivered a lovely ball more often than not to a fella on the run. In the second half against a hurricane, the wind really picked up in the second half. It was the same hit it as hard as you can kind of a puck out. And that's a back stream. It holds up. The forward can't run onto it. He's static. A backman is coming through. And look, when you're a backman in that situation, all you want to do is get something on the ball, move it back down the pitch, put the pressure on their backs, and it
that's it. As a backman, every puck is going to be coming right down your throat.
Oh yeah, exactly. And they're coming through the forward, Seamus came in through the back of one of the Swan lads in one of the pockets and caught a fantastic ball. And it was like, I thought, right, here's where we're going to see it now. And I thought they'd rain ball down on top of him for the rest of the game, but it didn't happen. And I think, look, a little bit more news on the puck outs and they could have seen out the game. But look,
I think Swan, as you said, Swan smelt a bit of blood there, and Mary's maybe should have slowed it down a bit more. I think they're over reliant on Sean Kennedy. I think he got 11 or 12.
Yeah, he was excellent.
He was excellent, and Lad O'Halloran's from Carrick as well was excellent.
Eric,
yeah.
I thought Eric was fantastic. He really kept the Swan in the game while they were up against it. He was everywhere on the field. His conditioning, his power, and his willingness to put his body on the line is up there with the best of them. And he really kept them in the game when they weren't hurling well.
But there's a short enough turnaround now for them. Kilnora well rested, have that extra week. The South Final is now scheduled for Sunday in Clonmel, 2:00. So that's a short enough turnaround for the Swan. I know Aaron O'Halloran went off very early on.
Yeah, he's a broken.
So I don't know.
I think he have a broken bone in his foot, so he'll be a loss to him.
He'll be lost.
He's a big young fella, and their young lads stood up now. I give him that. Their young lads stood up at the weekend, and they went about their business. Yeah, look, I suppose the turnaround a week. I suppose they're coming off the back of an unbelievable win, and they'll feel they played poorly. They feel they'll play better, so they'll want that South Final straight away. They won't care about a week's rest. They'll want that straight away, and I don't think whatever happens the weekend, I don't think a short turnaround will be a major factor in it. I think they'll I think we're going to be served up a bit of a cracker anyway.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. We'll get back to the intermediate in a few minutes, Sean. We'll go around the houses now. We'll finish with the West and the Mid. I suppose the West are like the South have a combined championship, so the Marys and the Swan was a senior game, as was the Cashel game at the weekend, Cashel Tracy. So Cashel were at one stage, they were 9 points up here. I just saw the Cashel team on paper there, obviously look, the transfers from a few years ago now, the lads are well settled in, but great to have likes of Jar Brown back on the field. think Devon Ryan was up in the other corner. So Cashel look strong.
That's the Sean, was it?
Yeah, I know that we're missing our Western correspondent here with Mike, but yeah, I suppose Tracy's look, they kind of gave their all. They're the claw back 6 points in there.
Yeah, look, Cashel needed a big performance. I think the way they went out against Burgess last year, they'd be hurting from it. Burgess bullied them. Burgess knocked them out last year, and
Burgess kicked on a bit this year as well.
And they need to respond. They'll need to respond to that, because when you go out the previous year on in a bad way, you kind of you need a good win when you start off the championship. And look, it was a good win. It was a comfortable win for them. And they'll if they can get the show on the road properly, like they have the numbers, they have players. It's just can they get it to gel and do the business on the day. Because there'll be bigger days ahead. I think it'll be grand for him to get a crack at Clonmel Rossmore in a West final. But look, that's neither here nor there for Cashel, because that's Clonmel Rossmore, and they could win that West in third gear if they wanted, really, if we're honest about it.
They could, Stephen, but yeah, again, I'd give Cashel a bit of a chance there. I think they lost them last year by about 4 or 5 points in the end in the West. I'd be surprised if there's any more this year now. Clonmel, as you said, they already got their semi-final on Friday. They got through that in second gear even.
But this is a far bigger game. The West final will be a far bigger game for Cashel than it will be for Clonmel. Clonmel have a bigger picture. Look, it'll be a great scalp and all that, and it set Cashel up for the rest of the year. But I think Cashel need to perform. They need the county championship more than needed the West Senior Championship.
Absolutely. We'll go to the mid now, Sean. If the earphones plugged in there now. So Sarsfield's I suppose start of the season dethroned the North or the mid champions from 2022, JK Brackens.
Yeah, an awful night there in the rag last night. The rain was hard conditions playing there. It was downpours for times. Brackens again, they're missing Paddy and Conor Cadell, and McBride. So they were down key players, to be honest. But it's a strange game. We'd own personal corner forward for Sarsfields there, gave an exhibition, to be honest. Man, the match scored 1-6. Billy McCarthy also strong in the forward. But we just plucked off points. Ronan's kind of loose there at the back, clearing up. And Brackens tried to keep in and keep score down there at a point. But the game kind of got away from him in the second half. And it never really took hold either of getting back into. But again, with the players are missing, and I thought it would be stronger. And we've actually bet them in June Ray by a good score the night before as well. So whether they're missing key men also in that as well, it would have upped that team as another kind of day.
I suppose it's a tough time of year when you're trying to keep Sarsfields out tonight in the Senior B. It's tough when you're trying to keep 2 or 3 panels tight enough and 2 or 3 key men down, like any team, mostly seem to be missing 2 or 3.
Yeah, Brackens actually finished at 14. Didn't even bring on a sub near the end. They were down a man when injured. They let it off. No point waste another player there for juniors. But it's going. Brackens will be disappointed though not to kind of keep it closer for, especially with the incentive of winning the division and having the division run off before the county series. With the group we're in, we kind of have to try and go for it and go all out. With Clonmel there, that will probably win the West. That probably gives them a lifeline maybe, and let the rest of them fight out in the North there. But it's good to see our lads moving well. Again, Dennis Maher didn't play, Paddy Creed and probably James Armstrong, another lad. There were a few lads that would have maybe there again as well, but it's a good workout. And
is the draw made for that, Sean? Is the draw made?
Yeah, we're playing Holy Cross, and it's more than likely next Saturday evening because the Cut Loose Festival's on there Sunday in Holy Cross. So it's ourselves and Holy Cross priorities that keep them going by. They'll beat us maybe Saturday and might go celebrating then to a bit of country and western on Sunday.
Jesus, don't tell some border facilitating a team's change of fixture now, so fair play, but we won't mention the war.
And then Holy Cross had a good win over Brackens. When you saw the scoreline, saying they pulled away well, but actually went to extra time, which is wasn't that I was talking to lads are at, and they just said it was a strange game. McCarthy had strong breeze second half, and they could have actually won the game, but in extra time, then they kind of compete late a bit, and the goals killed them. And like with reshelling goals, you wouldn't think you'd be conceding that much, but like when they're running through and getting point blank shots, they're not like no one's gonna save him. Maybe Murphy from Kenny the night his save. No,
and I suppose one of the games of the weekend, I suppose, was Lockmore. Maybe they were a little bit underdogs here against Drum. I don't know, but there was definitely the McGrath show.
yeah, they would have been. I from kind of feeling around if Drum would have been fancy to beat him in that, but then again, like no McGrath with 8 points from play. It was people are saying worth just watching it ball strike, and especially in Temple Toohey, that pitch is so open, like the swirling wind there and the breeze as well into the wind and stuff. It's magnificent. And John got two on from player 2-2 as well, and the free as well. But like Drum be disappointed now with that. Conceding 230 like to Lockmore, who again these two teams make up against each other later on in the campaign. So kind of disappointing them, and Lockmore now going to play.
Like Callan and the two champions, 48 hours after the tip, exit, they're down in Davin Park playing a challenge match. So I'd say it shows how much they were kind of, gearing up for the club. So
you're shame he did get a goal already. He scored round 1. Tommy Dolan got 4 points. The rest of them kind of came from frees. David Collins got about 10 frees, So but they plucked around, but they'll regroup now from that, because you say they're kind of aiming for the mid, but the draw as well, like we didn't want to get Lockmore either or Drum in the first round, So it was a kind of a look at the draw. They're on that, and if Lockmore the harder side of the draw, you can kind of say that maybe Upchurch as well in the semi-final where the buy are into it. So
yeah, exactly. Gar Silver Mines busted my IQ in the weekend. I kind of half fancied an upset in that one there. So again, continuing on their good.
I think they let a few people down, because I suppose there's a good crop of young fellas coming through the Mines. I've probably seen that for a few years now. But look, obviously Conor McKelvey and obviously Mikey Corkin, everyone knows who they are. But like I have to mention a couple. Like I was over our under 17s last year. We won an North final, and like there was 2 of those lads. One started, Danny Quinn, who made a championship debut, and another guy came on, Carl Tracy. So look, for 2 17-year-olds come on in championship, it's a cauldron to come on. I remember my championship debut against Ballina. Jesus, it's a long time ago now. It's about 16, 17 years ago now. But it's those days you don't forget, win or lose. But you know what? It was a very disappointing performance. I get into Burgess now in a second, because I was very impressed with Burgess, but it just seemed, I don't know, and again, I don't want to be coming down hard on anyone, or listen, we've all played a game and everything, but it just seemed a bit flat. Jason was so well marshalled by Johnny Mulqueen, and it's one thing about Johnny, he's unbelievable condition this year. He is in unbelievable nick, and he was just all over Jason. Now look, listen, he had to give away a few frees, as you do, but the fitness of the Burgess team was something that really stood out to me. Stephen Corbin and Michael Ryan were just absolute 2 horses up and down that line all day. Owen Hogan, everyone knows Owen Hogan. He's got hands like Chris Deering. He's just, the wrists on him are unbelievable. And Bill Flatt was exceptional, absolutely exceptional. 2 big men. If Bill wasn't winning the ball in there, he was tapping it down to Stephen Corbin and Mikey Ryan. They were popping on, and there was always Donna or Stephen Murray or Danny Ryan was unbelievable as well, running off the shoulders. That's one thing. They had runners everywhere. It was like a football team. But like I gave man the match to Donna Maher. He was like a 16-year-old out there. I don't know what age Donna is, 34, 35 now. He was just unbelievable. He ran the show really. And again, Johnny McQueen was unreal as centre back. Burgess, I was very impressed with Burgess. I had not seen him this fit I don't know if I've ever seen a Burgess team as fit. Ronan Tucker's puck outs were very good. Willie Ryan, the whole full back line, I have to give a shout out to all of them. They were just really well conditioned. And now Keith Nealon went off with a head injury. I'm not too sure if he'll be okay for the weekend. Now they got drawn in Newport tonight in the North semi-final. He'll be a massive loss. Massive loss. And for the Mines, look, Jason had a quiet day. He got 1 point from play. Now it was an unbelievable point from play. Conor McKelvey took it to Burgess in second half, but it was just a really off day. No one really had a standout game. There was no real, I don't know, there's no momentum. They got no momentum at one stage. Now, I will say they went 9 points down at one stage. They brought it back to 4 points. They knocked 5 points over in a row. Bill Flatt got a goal, killed the game, done and dusted. But one thing, Burgess, they just ran at the Mines defence and did no answer for it. So yeah, Burgess won 319 to 119, and the scoreline is probably a bit generous for the Mines.
And then Newport, I suppose, Tim Floyd in charge there. So we all know that former county secretary seems to be getting the tune out of Newport.
Yeah.
Ballina disappointing enough, maybe. Did you see that?
Oh, jeez, come here. I was talking to the chairman, Aaron Devan, after the game, and they were pure deflated. Like, they were 5 points up with 5 minutes to go in the first half. They were doing all the hurling. And Newport has got a small bit of a run on them, and they brought back to a point right before half time. Now, Ballina came out in the second half. They went 4 points up, and I said, geez, they'll kick on here now. But again, they went flat. They went really flat again. But the main thing to notice was in the second half, Newport let Ballina receive the puck out, every single puck out in the first half. They just let them have it. And look, Ballina, they ran at Newport. David Kelly, I have to give a shout out to David Kelly. If Ballina had won, he was man of the match. He was unbelievable for Ballina. And you probably see the goal there up in our clubber socials, and you've shared as well, lads. The ball from Owen Power across into 14. David ran, I'd say 100 miles an hour, snapped it out of the air and buried it in the back of the net. But Paul Hogan, Colin Floyd, second half, simple as that. His puck outs, he just landed them all down to 21. They finally fed Colin Floyd. And look, anybody who's been watching Newport the last couple of years, he's their main man, simple as that. A great time for Colin. He's reminds me of Shane O'Donnell. And the way he kind of holds a hurling, his style of hurling, but he got 12 points in play, 12 points, 6 in play, 6 frees. Peter Sullivan was very good. Keane Flanagan had a right game midfield as well. But and actually, I have to give another shout out to Oisin O'Brien. He was wearing 11, but Sean O'Brien went off with a hamstring injury in the first 5-10 minutes, and Oisin went back kind of in the full back line, and he gave an absolute monstrous performance. So it was a close call between Oisin O'Brien, Colin Floyd, and David Kelly for man of the match. But just in that, Sean O'Brien looks like he'll probably be out for a good few weeks, so he'll be a big loss now against Burgess in the North semi-final.
And then I suppose Ballina, Mary's in the first group game of the Orient, so that's nearly a must-win from both after both losing the divisionals. Sean, I suppose back down to yourself.
Just on that, sorry, that before we move on, just on that, obviously Stephen O'Brien obviously wasn't playing Friday night and looks like he's out for the year as well. So it's a big uphill task now for Ballina.
So selector, isn't he, on the programme?
He is, yeah, and he was there on the sideline, all right. And Mikey Breen had a good game as well, but again, Mikey was playing centre back. But it's a big ask now for Ballina to kick on, because I watched the Mary's game as well, and Mary's are impressive. Thought the point was made there by Sean, I think, that if the wind wasn't there, they were definitely the better team. But the big task for Ballina to beat them now in the first round championship.
Yeah. Sean, the Thurles All-Stars lost against the mighty Clonmel this evening.
Yeah, and the mighty Clay sort of did. To be fair, Clay down there, they said venue was pitched perfect, good blow. So no, fair play to Clay there for hosting that. And night where they couldn't get a field around the herd. We lost 3-17. With a lot of youth and older senior players, but it's disappointing result, and to lose kind of in that game in the kind of semi-final for a bit of silverware now so early on. And in the other semi-final, Mind Temper 2 were disappointed, but they're down a few of their main men, like Gordon Connor especially. They lost Curtin who won 20 to 18 points in the other semi-final. So like it's a Curtin who and Clonmel final in the mid and Premier Intermediate, which we kind of at the start of the year might say there was no, like, mine could have been in it, or like the start season. So I know it is right there for both of them teams. So for lifeline,
that's yeah. Whoever wins that, again, we talk about the, focusing in on the divisional, getting your preliminary quarter final. But Gartner, who obviously had a great year last year, Common Club, nice new field, another Premier Intermediate to top that off would be just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, they're playing great stuff. And we kind of mentioned on the pod last number of years that they're developing, and they've done some work out there in terms of the stands and the new fields and actually the more balls. So like they're pumping in, and it's actually shown in the other end where they're actually getting results and getting to finals where they could be lifting a bit of the cup there next weekend.
Exactly, yeah, without writing off Clonmel. So yeah, there probably won't be much in that one again.
No.
Stephen, I won't ask you too much about the next one because I know you're involved, but I suppose Kilshean, a bit of a surprise, because I had Ballingarry down as going very well in the intermediate after a good win against Kahina in the quarterfinal. But Kilshean in full value for I think it was a 5-point win in the end, and probably should have been a bit more.
Yeah, full value for the win. Yeah, look, to be honest, I was a bit disappointed with Ballingarry as well. I thought now they were getting their ducks in a row. Maybe a long league campaign had him flash, like as in flash as in motivation wise, because the old traits of Ballingarry used to be intensity and aggression, you know, and in your face hurling, and it wasn't to be seen. You know, if you swap jerseys, you would have easily thought Kilsheelan were Ballingarry, because they brought the fire, they brought the aggression and the intensity, and they bullied Ballingarry. And Ballingarry got their tactics wrong. The half back line played way too far out the field and really, really hurt their full back line, you know, because there's pace all over that Kilsheelan team. And they made hay. But when Ballingarry showed it up a bit in the second half, they kind of got back into the game. And, you know, like, I don't think Kilsheelan were ever going to get bet, but I think it was 2-14 they scored. Like, they'd be disappointed with that scoreline, you know, because they dominated most of the game. Hopefully, sorry, go ahead.
No, and they're saying, like, you know, the Ballingarry Dylan Walsh was kept quiet by the older one, the Butlers, and then Senan Butler, I think, kind of, you know, he's a live wire, and the forwards for Kilsheelan, he's a big addition to him this year.
Oh, he's a super, like, he's selfless. He's one thing on the mind when he gets that ball in his hand, and that's going straight for goal. And there's no going around the man either to go through the man, you know. And he's a great young hurler. He's going to take wicked watching, you know. And Mark's brother Barry Keogh, he was excellent. He was excellent in the first half. He was the one that he took it to Ballingarry more than, you know, on the scoreboard, because he was the one doing the scoring. They did some poor wides in the first half, Kilsheelan did, but, you know, this young lad now, he was excellent. Mark Stokes put the world of ball at centre back. You know, they made a hero out of him as well, in a sense. But I suppose as a non-marking sweeper, you have to be in the right place at the right time. And do you see, he must have had a pain in his hands for pucking balls back down the field.
Without putting the wind up, you know, but that Kilsheelan team is a very good team on paper and has been for a few years.
Oh, I think there's about 10 or 11 of them this year alone that are off either football,
county teams,
hurling, or, you know, so they'd have fierce training throughout the year. Hence why they can't take part in the county league, because they don't have the numbers. But half their squad are on county teams, so, like, they'd be disappointed with how last year went, considering doing the county final the year before. But this Kilsheelan, they're a serious outfit, and
probably up there with Moneygall as the favourites, you'd say.
Yeah, they bring serious pace. It's a huge positive. Like, there's no slow lads around the field, if you understand me. Like, a very quick game, you know.
Will he bother showing up on Saturday evening? He's gone now, just as I say that, so he's not sensibly not answering. Right, as we leave the club there for a couple of minutes, because, you know, we had 2 All-Ireland semi-finals. The first one, I suppose, look, it went to plan for Limerick, maybe, you know, the bit of dark arts or whatever you want to call it, a bit of gamesmanship there. But Galway, once they were ahead, they never looked like raising a gallop second half, Sean. Or
yeah, because it's just Limerick again, the second half forms. But Galway, the second half, like, you change tactics, you're inside 4 lane, change up a bit, you're dominating there. Like, level they were every chance, even looking at the pricing there online, journalism, whatever, Limerick weren't giving much of a chance, when the game was running. But then about 26, 27 minutes on, Limerick just took over, and it was just standard Limerick there, even missing their key men, they're still
shows the flexibility now. You know, we always knew they had just that kind of core or whatever, but they seem to be showing that they can plug the few gaps in that, or more than a few gaps at this stage.
Exactly, yeah. Their half-backs in there were dominant, Aaron Glenn, but still, you shouldn't be catching them all over the last head like that and scoring goals. And I know it's a great catch and finish, but be ruthless, but Galway be very disappointed how they finished out second half, particularly. It was they folded at a point there, to be honest. Even the second Limerick goal was just kind of scrappy as well. There was no real force.
There's no kicking him at all. And Gar, I suppose, where do you think that leaves Tip now? I suppose, having, you know, been beaten by Galway,
I'd be a lot more positive about Tip. Look, I suppose, hopefully it's a long-term project with Liam. Like he played a lot of young players this year. We have to remember that. I know Sheffield has done as well a lot of the under 20 down through the last couple of years, but I just don't think Galway. I don't buy into this, the battle, or they just caved in. I don't buy into that narrative at all. I just don't think they have the hurlers, and simple as that, to compete at the top table. Now we don't at the moment either. Let's call a spade a spade. We don't, but I think we've held a lot more coming through than what Galway do. So I'd be very positive about us in the next 2 or 3 years. But I suppose just at the weekend, like we're calling it the dark arts of Nicky Quaid. Every single club and county team in the country do it. Limerick are just the best ad, and everyone is pissed off because they are the best ad.
Well,
it's as simple as that.
Down in Monroe, there was more time spent with lads injured. You know, the first half and the second half was gas. Like
that's it. But like, isn't it all? It's like in soccer, everyone hates Man City because they're the best team at the moment. It's like whoever's at top. Like at the moment, like everyone probably wants Kilkenny to win. No, not everyone obviously tip no wants Kilkenny to win, but like a lot of the country want Kilkenny to beat Limerick because they're winning. But I think what Nicky Quaid done probably was the turn of the game, and Sheffield said it after the game, lads. And it's just because he did it and Limerick did it, it's been more high profile. I wouldn't make anything of it at all. It was just good sportsman or good gamesmanship by Nicky Quaid. But
Sheffield, does he have a third year in him up there, do you think, lads, or is he on that long list of Galway underperforming managers now?
You'd have to give him the third year. Personally, you'd have to give him the third year. If he doesn't do it, look. But again, as I say, I don't think they have the hurlers. It's as simple as that.
I suppose then the game of the weekend, bar the club scene, was definitely Sunday. Our old friend Mr. Lohan, an ideal result for Clare, maybe, like, you know, the heroic loss kind of thing, or the failure. But yeah, geez, Kilkenny, Stephen and I are on the border there, but like, you just have to give it to them, don't you? They just don't know. Sometimes they just don't know.
Yeah, it's just to never give up and work for everything. It's just bred into them, merely, you know. And like they always bring a physicality and an intensity that's, you know, it's through the roof. And look, I know we get jabs at the Leinster Championship, but Kilkenny don't have to be ready until the Leinster final. You know, so like the freshness that they'll bring into the All-Ireland series, like it's savage. And we spoke about it last day, Adrian Mullen being available or not, you know, and like these Ballyhale lads, what they do for Kilkenny is what Ballygunner should be doing for Waterford. Like, you know, they bring a wealth of experience and a wealth of calmness in a ferocious, intense environment, and you just can't get. They'll never die, Kilkenny, because, you know, they have this thing where people compare them to the great teams. They're not. This is a poor Kilkenny team. They're not poor. There's no poor hurlers in Kilkenny on a Kilkenny panel. You know, like this myth, and it's the Kilkenny boys that'll throw it out. I know this team not great now. That lad Asher Hewitt, they're a bunch of fantastic hurlers. They're trained and they're conditioned brilliantly, and they have a hunger and a desire when they go onto a hurling field. That keeps them in most games. And what a lot of people forget is, with a little bit of better ball into the forwards last year, they could have won an All-Ireland. You know, like they had Limerick on the ropes a lot, but they just Hail Mary'd every single ball, and it suited Limerick, you know, coming into the dying stages. But look, Brian Lohan got what he wanted. He got a controversial call to go against him, and it papered over all his flaws throughout the game because he got an awful lot wrong on the day. And you know, and I think if you're going to be constantly using the referee as an excuse, I don't think your team is going to improve.
He's so pumped up on the line over the refereeing decisions, isn't he? There, he just, like, everyone he's in the face kind of thing. Like, you know, it's like that over a minor team or something like that.
Like just on it, I think that, like, let's call it spade a spade. The ref had a poor game yesterday, but it wasn't the winning and losing of either team. He made 3 or 4 very, very poor decisions. But again, it is something that Lohan does. Even when they win, I've noticed he does bring in the fourth officials and the refs the whole time, and it takes away. Like, Clare still gave an unbelievable performance yesterday, and by bringing in the referee, it's taken away from the performance of your players. And like, they left everything out in the field yesterday. Like, they only lost by 2 points, lads. And they only lost by Limerick by a point or 2 in Munster twice as well. So like, they're still a serious outfit. But now everyone's talking today about Brian Lohan and about the officials, not about the performance that Clare put in. So it's just something, I don't know. It doesn't sit well.
That's on the manager himself, though. He's the one creating all of this. And I think that will hold back a team, because rather than look within yourself, well, what are the things that we might have done wrong? Like, are we shooting from an impossible angle? Or are we not working the ball with a little bit more composure? Instead, now everything is, the referee. Like, where's that face in the mirror to say, look, there's one or two things I got wrong on the day that we can improve on,
Exactly.
Like, we should be talking about a fantastic performance from Clare, because they have been playing excellently since Tipperary beat them. And but all the talk is referees from them, and that's not healthy for a team either.
And only for a wonder save, Sean. And like, I suppose the bad thing here is when you slow this down in slow motion, it actually, like, I think the real thing here is look at how fast this all happens. In like on the live action, so
he was wrong-footed,
so impressive.
Hurley on the other side. He came on a rebound, like, even to get a shot off was phenomenal in the first place. But then Murphy pulled off crossbar. Like this thing, like if that went in, like Clare probably may have deserved to win the game like that. What are they? But I do say there, Clare had a phenomenal game, and like Tony Kelly was kept to 1 point by Mikey Butler. Like again, like
2 years in a row.
At 1 point is playing as a forward. Tony Kelly ended up being a backman for most that games. Like, so the masterclass again by Mikey Butler was unbelievable, honest there. And before the game, RT were building up Tony Kelly this, and like that's the thing, like other Clare players in around said, right, if he doesn't do it, we'll do it. And they nearly did on the day, like with Tony Kelly being kept quite, like Shane Donlan inside, Fitzgerald midfield powerhouse again, Rogers would missing pace balls just like TD Reid. But then you have to look at Kenny brought on players that, like, in other counties, you may say are kind of gone back. Richie Hogan, like, he'd no speed in the corner there when he won that ball, but he just won a free. He went, dropped the head. It could have been a red card. Like, Richie Hogan got sent off for the same against Barrett, if you kind of think of it, So, like, TJ Reid
Walsh as well, coming on.
Yeah. Like Wally Walsh, Paul Walsh again. So these are players, but they're bringing on the kind of drive and the willpower and the cleverness that are coming on for Kenny, and that's what they're doing for years. But Clare, we just saw this point. Is it 10 years since won the game at Croke Park? Is it?
Yeah, 2013, I think, is the stat. They haven't been since they beat Cork in the replayed final, that they haven't won a game since.
So it's just something you need to get over the hood. Like at the start of the year, even during both campaigns, we're kind of saying, like, people kind of want to draw Kenny to this in semi-final. Like, but they are now looking back going, geez, what could we have done there? But starting Maury, I think, first time trying to play that system, he didn't look like he knew what he's doing either. Was a kind of a very late call where they're working on training, so that's the thing as well. Like Lone, like the season again, the costume. Yeah.
Call from Lone. The first game, first round the Munster, he drops his keeper and it cost him there. And then, so I don't think he's learning. He
wasn't effective doing the sweeping either. He kind of seemed lost at times because Richie Reid is pinging the balls left and right into Cody there, like, with a phenomenal game. So, like, he wasn't even in front of Cody covering that ball in. So, like, what did he actually effectively do in the first half? Not a whole pile, to be honest.
We spoke about it on the last, I think it was the last part of the pod before that. We spoke about how teams are they're kind of putting that way too much emphasis on what the other team will do. And it looked like Clare prepared to play against Kilkenny, focusing on what Kilkenny might or might not do to them, rather than focusing on their own game, what's done them so well all throughout the year and what they've been training and preparing for all year. Then all of a sudden, bang, changes it for the All-Ireland semi-final. Like, for me, that's poor management. That's poor decision making. Like, as you mentioned already, Kevin, he had the goalie situation at the start of the year, and then in the Munster final, he had the cornerback situation.
Exactly.
And then, then here again, we had out of the blue formation, and it's like, look, a little bit of effort have to go into the opposition, but first and foremost, your focus is on making your own game plan work, making your own team excel at what they're best at. And it is another error from Brian Owen.
Yeah, and I suppose that's like maybe we talked about Galway, we talked about Clare, we talked about Kilkenny, and their Limerick are again. I suppose just we really do have to give them their credit. Going for 4 in a row, 5 out of the last 6, largely the same cohort of players, and like maybe Galway weren't ever going to be the team to take them down, but you know, they just seem to be timing their run again, giving a big performance in Croke Park.
Yeah, like you see, like Declan Hannon, I suppose, probably one of the best sixes I've seen in my time, and like even Lynch, like the last couple of weeks, last couple of games, he was a nobody, absolute nobody. Went away for 2 or 3 weeks, bit of training, and he could have been man of the match yesterday or at the weekend. He could have been man of the match. He gave an unbelievable performance, and it's just like this old saying, and I hate cliches, everything go back to the well with the same players, but they are, and they're only bringing in maybe one player every year. Do you know it? And it's not their. Like Sean Finn missing, Declan Hannon missing, Keenan's only back. I don't know. It's just they're just a team for the ages. They are reminding me obviously of the Kilkenny team that won the 4 in a row as well. And it's just they're just a class act. And Kylie and the whole backroom team and everything that they do, like the small little things with Nicky Quaid, those small little things, that turned the game at the weekend. So you just have to, like, whether you like them or not, you just have to give them the credit. Simple as that.
Exactly. And I suppose, look, we'll talk about more about the preview for the final in the next pod and that. But I suppose before we finish it up tonight, lads, the biggest game of the weekend, Cappawhite are back into a West Premier Intermediate final now. So a hard fought win. I don't have the score there. I think it was 116 to 16 points or something like that. Michael be on to correct me if I am wrong. But they're playing Arravale, so that's a novel pairing as well in that final. Sorry, not Premier Intermediate. I'm promoting them prematurely.
Intermediate.
The junior intermediate.
You're thinking about the South one this weekend.
Yeah. No, so big win for Cappawhite there as well. And he managed to catch that one, or
no, I didn't.
That's surprising me. And look, big win for Arravale as well. You know, their team you probably see bouncing around with Ballybacon in the old relegation playoff there in the intermediate the last few years. So good to see that. You know, look, two clubs now, like that'd be a big boost for them to whoever wins that one at the weekend.
Yeah.
The lads, we won't mention
the ladies had a fantastic win the weekend. It's not Ireland semi-final.
Yeah, just going to say that. Actually, I give a small shout out there. The father, he actually drove the team bus up to Croker with Dennis and the women on Saturday. So he had a right day out. He got a ticket for both matches on Saturday as well. So he had a right day out. But I just have to say, I've been following the Camogie there very close, and my two sisters played down for years and everything. And I just think the job Dennis has done the last 12 months, like obviously this team, I suppose for the last couple of years, they haven't been thereabouts even in knockout games. But it's only been 12 months then. It's not even 12 months then it's there. I think the job he's done, lads, it's just absolutely incredible. Regardless of the result against Waterford, I think what he's done this year is just incredible. And I'd be very surprised if they didn't beat Waterford. They were just so impressive.
A bit of momentum building there, but we'll have to get them on, I think, give them their dues. And maybe if there's anyone around from the Camogie just to kind of reach out there. We'll go through maybe the season a bit, and more than happy to have a chat.
100%. And Dennis is a good man to talk. He's done a few pods there with Nina Garjan down through the years and stuff as well. He's a good man to talk, and he knows the game inside out. But no, it's great, and to be back in Croker now for another shot, an All-Ireland final. And I don't know, when was the last time Tip were in an All-Ireland final, Camogie? It's a good while, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
your Corks and Kilkennys.
It's just great to see him back at the top table. It is.
Exactly. No, look, see my own crowd there, the more of a focus on Camogie, it lifts the whole club and getting more involved and getting new people involved as well. So, you know, hopefully more and more clubs now will start kind of promoting the Camogie around the county, and we'll start getting players in from.
Before we go any further, it's not tip related, lads. I want to highlight it. The Kilkenny player of the match at the weekend. I don't know if you've seen it.
Jesus, don't be starting this now. The trophy.
I know. I just want to say it. I know it's my first time on the pod. I don't want to bring up too much controversy because you're fairly good at doing that yourselves anyway. With Mr. Skettle, and we won't get there actually. But I just thought it was absolutely scandalous how I know that they were the sponsor of the tournament as well, but how they were let away with giving the Kenny player of the match a radio. It was just absolutely disgraceful. I suppose that's why they're fighting for what they're fighting for, but there's not enough voices, and I don't think they're getting enough backing. I just had to bring it up. I just thought it was absolutely disgraceful.
Did the Kilkenny lay not to do with the player of the match presentation, but did they lay themselves down and their Camogie, their fellow Camogie players down with their with not taking part in the protest? You know, was there an issue before that? I personally wouldn't give an opinion on it unless I got both sides of the camp. I wouldn't give an opinion.
I'd say Blinker view All Ireland semi no distractions would be the key.
Yeah.
Probably. But again, outside.
But seemingly they had agreed to do it, and then they didn't. They stopped it. So whether that's the word, whether that's the truth now or not, is another thing. But I was told they agreed to do it, and then they went against what the agreement was. So it's a little bit not nice to the rest of the Camogie colleagues, if that's the case.
No, well, if that is the case, I would agree with you. But I suppose, look, that's why there's bigger issues like within Camogie. It's just, I don't know. It's like you see the club level, you see county finals being played in December and January, and it's just the sooner all this gets resolved, the better, because it's just an absolute disgrace what's going on.
There's a long road there, lads, working out the detail. I mean, everyone would agree with the kind of overall trust of it, one organisation and all that, but there's a long road to go with the detail there, and who does what and who gets what. So. Look, I suppose that could be a good conversation for November, December, when we've no games to talk about for now. But look, plenty of games on next weekend again. Big shout out to the Davins now. Try keep it under 10 points against the Kilsheed and All-Stars the weekend. So out in Clare on Saturday evening. So thanks a million, lads.
Thanks a million.
Thanks very much for having us, lads.